Welcome back to Weekend AM. Now, leaving and junior cert exams are an inevitable source of stress for students and parents, I'd imagine. They can all get bogged down by the pressure and repetitive study that the year entails.
Which is why it's important to alleviate the stress right from the start of the school year. And here to explain is motivational speaker and teacher Enda O'Doherty of Study Skills Ireland. Good morning to you.
Morning,
Morning,
Enda.
guys. How are you?
Good.
We were talking about the timing during the break, and I read this morning and I thought it's not exam time, but I suppose the important thing is to look ahead. This is the start of the new school term and it's all about planning, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think that, when we look at what causes our stress, it's usually something that we've left till the last minute. Like when I was getting ready last night for tonight's show, or this morning's show, I had all of the clothes at the end of the bed, the car pointing outwards, the diesel in the car. Anything I could do to alleviate stress and make today go better, I did. So I think with many of our students, we're all familiar with the big Easter grind, and pushing
big
yourself,
push,
big push. And really, if you get organised early and use good systems and good plans, you shouldn't really be that stressed.
Yeah, and it makes for a more calm environment, not only for the student themselves, but the whole family around them, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I often tell people I taught the Leaving Cert 28 times and thought I understood it. The first time it was in my own kitchen, it was a different story. It affects everyone in the home. So, I mean, the more practical things you can do early on is to take those actions. You see the biggest difference.
How do you bridge that gap, though, Enda, between saying to your kids in September, right, next May starts now, let's pull a plan together, and they're looking at you going, you just said it's next May. This is September.
Loads of time.
Yeah, we've loads of time.
Well,
Where do you start?
Well, I would often start with this. There's 167 days in the school year. And if you're doing your Leaving Cert, divide that into 167 minus the holidays. You're probably right now, this morning, looking at 23 school days left to English Paper 1. Right? So that adds, but the idea is that adds a sense of urgency. Time is a valuable commodity. It's like money.
Yeah.
Like we're counting down here on the show this morning, you're on in 3 seconds, 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Like for a lot of teenagers particularly, the concept of time it's abstract.
Yeah.
If you say, when am I doing the Leaving Cert, they'll say it's next year, like it's miles away.
And also younger teenagers who are doing the group cert.
Absolutely. I would think even more so because they don't have the experience and that pressure. They don't know what it's like. So the more things we can do early on, the better it goes.
Okay, so you've got some tips for us, your top 5 tips.
Absolutely.
And we'll pop them up in a graphic. The first one is goal setting.
Yeah, well, I would think the first thing you should do is set a short-term goal. It is true. If you're 14, 15, or, you say, I'm going to try and do something in a year's time, it seems a long way away. So to achieve the bigger goal, maybe it's better to look at what can I do this week? What simple goals can I carry out this week that will allow me to achieve my major goal at the end?
Would you set weekly goals or a monthly goal at this time of the year?
Short ones, weekly ones, longer ones, monthly ones, and allow you to achieve your major goal. I was lucky enough to speak at an event with the Dublin football manager a few weeks ago. And I was really impressed. One of the things he said is that they don't talk about Croke Park, they don't talk about Sam Maguire. They talk about the best they can be today. So nutrition, training, friendship, planning, how much can we do today that will allow us in September win Sam Maguire, which has worked in their case.
So much more achievable goals, I suppose.
And I think kind goals. If you say, right, my goal is I'm going to get 98% in every subject, you're probably going to be disappointed. So in our own lives, realistic goals, but something that allows you to experience success. Because when you win, it's nice and you want more, and then you achieve more. If you set a goal, or as parents or as students, if we set a goal that the student can't achieve, then we could be disappointed.
Well, I was going to ask that, Enda, because quite often you'll have parents have a set of goals and their son or daughter, the pupil in question, will have a totally different set of goals. Have you seen that they're at odds with each other?
Absolutely. I would tell you, with any student, any group I work with, my 2 goals for all students, my first goal is that you're happy. My second goal is that you're healthy. Because in my experience, when you get those 2 goals in place, all the other things fall into place. And the people who don't prioritise those 2 can run into trouble.
The next thing on your list was battling negative thoughts. Now, I'd imagine that encompasses the entire house, does it?
It does. A simple practical thing I do with students, and I coach business people, I coach teams, and you can use this yourselves. When you have a negative thought, take a positive action. So there's a lady I was working with helping her with motivation and helping her with goal management, and she was struggling with weight loss. And I said to her, where do you park your car when you go to the gym? And she said, obviously, as close to the front door as possible. So she said to me, I'm not making any progress in the weight loss. So I said, right, let's get her to park 1 mile away at the local petrol station and walk to the gym for her class and walk back. In the first 2 months, she did 2 marathons. Right, so a positive thought, a negative thought, match it with a positive action. God, I'll never get that job. Probably not with that mindset. Positive action, find out about the employer, practice an interview, buy a new suit. And if you continually have negative thoughts as a student, and if you take positive actions, you're going to see a change.
It's about a positive environment as well, though, isn't it? You know, an individual can try and do all of those things, but if they don't have positive people around them.
Sure, and the major problem I would see sometimes with parents is you're naturally terrified. You want your kid to do well. It's the leaving cert, and you're really anxious.
But you pass on that anxiety, don't you?
The important thing would be to put the mask on, keep that anxiety with the glass of red wine with your husband or your partner in the front room or in the bedroom in front of the kids, nice and calm.
Yeah.
Procrastination.
I'll tell you about that one in a minute.
I love it.
I've been waiting all morning for that one.
And I teed you up usually for it. Yeah.
Can I ask, Simon, what's your Chinese like?
My Chinese.
Yeah, can you speak much
it's,
Chinese?
Conversational.
Okay, so you have no Chinese, right?
I've none. Yeah, none.
Okay, and you don't feel bad about it. But the
No.
reason you don't speak Chinese is you never practice it. So you've no issue with that, okay? I would see a lot of students who habitually practice putting things off, right? And as a result, they practice it every day. They get really good at it, right? So Nike's slogan is just do it. So what I would be saying to students is, you know, the minute you hear that voice saying, do it later, or the project next week, or I learned the poem tonight, or in both of your cases, it was probably, you know, do you remember that feeling when you heard the music to Glen Rowe?
Yeah.
And you went, geez, I better start the homework.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So-
yeah.
If you practice putting things off, that's what you get good at. But you can easily go the reverse. You can practice doing things like that so that you make progress.
But also, isn't it about engaging the students? And I know that's the teachers' jobs and the parents' jobs. But for example, with your example of learning how to speak Chinese, you don't
Yeah.
need it. So how would you say? What do you say to an Irish student, a student saying, "What do I need to learn leaving cert? I'm not going to use it in my practical day-to-day
Yeah.
life."
Or trigonometry, or,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
the things
not
that
just
you...
Irish.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
How do you flip that switch and just engage them?
Yeah, well, I would have thought a lot of geography, and I often say to the boys, I said,
Yeah.
look, you're never going to be in a nightclub and some beautiful looking lady's going to come up and say, what do you know about granite?
Yeah.
It's never going to happen
Yeah, yeah.
unless she's a geography teacher, and then you can be in trouble.
Or
But-
a granite salesman.
Yeah, but what I do tell them is, what I do tell them is that, you know, I show them the lives of past pupils, and I show them the directions they've gone, the careers they have, the adventures they have, and I say all of that happened because of the leaving cert. So rather than seeing it as a huge wall, rather than seeing it as a huge difficulty, if you see it as a door of opportunity, again, it's mindset. If you can walk through that, and you know walking through that door allows you to go any direction, do anything you want with your life.
Potential's huge. We're just aware of time, and actually time awareness is the next one. Time awareness and control the phone. The last two you
well,
have up
I
there.
think, you know, if you're a parent watching this morning, you'll probably see that a lot.
Yeah.
And you'll see that. You know, I sometimes think if you take a phone out of a teenager's hand, the thumb keeps twitching.
just twitches, yeah,
keeps
yeah,
twitching. But your phone is a fantastic tool. And I always say to teenagers, look, you know, now and again, it's okay to tell your parents a white lie. We all did it. But don't lie to yourself. If you're going up to your room pretending to study, and that's going to affect the rest of your life because you're on Instagram or Facebook, you're kidding yourself, you know? So I hear students say to the parents, oh, I need the phone for my calculator. I would say, use a calculator. I need it as a dictionary. I'd say, here's a dictionary.
Yeah.
If the tool is a phone is a fantastic tool. You can use it for so much learning styles, but maybe
control it.
control it. Maybe put the phone in a public area.
Yeah.
You know, if you put the phone on the kitchen table, and if you need to watch a clip on YouTube, or if you need to use exam papers and then return to your study environment,
that.
that's better. You know,
Yeah.
it's overcoming the temptation. You know, last night I wanted chocolate biscuits. The reason I didn't eat any was because I removed the temptation. There were none in the house because I would have had
I
five.
fight that
And then
battle
the-
all the time.
You're winning, sir.
But the
Very
notion goes out of your head then when they're not in vision,
Yeah.
I suppose.
Very quickly,
Yeah.
you're doing a talk today up in Drogheda.
Yeah, it's a busy weekend, so I'm leaving you here today, and then I'm going up to, I will be the TNT Theatre in Drogheda, 12 o'clock this morning, and there are some tickets available on the door. It's hosted by the Drogheda Grinds Academy.
Very good.
And I am also speaking tomorrow in DCU at 11 o'clock, entitled
Parents.
to parents. The title of our talk tomorrow morning is The Best Your Child Can Be, which I think
That's
says
what
it
we
all.
all strive for.
That's it,
It
exactly.
is, isn't
pleasure.
it?
Thanks
Thank
for
you so
coming
much
in.
for having me
Your,
on.
your pupils are very lucky to have you as a teacher.
Thank you, thank you.
Thanks, Enda.
Right, still to come, we're preparing an Indian-style mackerel in the kitchen.
And over on the catwalk, we're showcasing autumnal styles. See you shortly. I can't speak.